It's like Pete dropped out first.
I know, and they had a phone call. We know they had a phone call.
Within like 12 hours of each other.
Yeah, that's sketchy.
2 moderates out of the 3 have dropped out.
Hey, BB, I got you. Just drop out right now. It's like a game. It's like Big Brother. Of alliances are being made. It's like, I know I'm not going to win this HOH competition, but if I give it to you, just keep me safe for the week. Maybe we'll work together, and then we'll get out like that other person we hate.
So we are on our way / entering Brattleboro, Vermont. I've never been to Vermont, so this is exciting. We are heading to a forum talking about democracy in this town. We're not really sure if people are actually going to be there, or if it's just like one of those random events.
1,000 feet, turn left onto Main Street.
But we are almost there. So we're excited. We're gonna check this out, tour the town of Brattleboro, talk to some people. Asha's working on her awesome Instagram story talking about people's opinions that we've talked to so far today. So it'll be a good time.
I'm a trained Latin American historian.
Okay.
I've been teaching since 1981.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, given the state of things, we were just at a Democracy Now! Forum. How are you feeling about the state of democracy in the United States? Is it worrying you? Are you feeling...
Oh, it's worrying.
Really?
I mean, isn't it? The question is whether or not we really are at a tipping point, you might call it, or a turning point, and I think we are. The crisis that we face is whether or not, as the other folks were saying, the other youth, there's a narrative that can bring us together. And I think Bernie's is the narrative, personally. It's the closest one we have to corral all of this pent-up angst that we're all carrying into positive action.
What is your response to people and the inevitable narrative that Bernie is a socialist or a communist? Because we've heard a lot of that on the road.
Yeah. Bernie will need to really address it in a substantive way. The way he is doing it at this point is to align himself with Franklin Roosevelt. I'm just a Franklin Roosevelt New Deal Democrat, is what he says, which is actually true. The question is, how do you persuade everybody else that that's exactly the truth? So he's got to embrace the Green New Deal and Medicare for All as programs that look an awful lot like the Works Progress Administration of Franklin Roosevelt and the other programs of the New Deal of the 1930s. Then he'll, I think, get himself out of the corner.
In terms of the Democracy Forum, is that something that you guys have ever been a part of before or seen in your own towns?
I've never seen anything like that before. It was cool to see, but after a few minutes, I kind of started thinking, what's the point of all of it? I think it's good to talk about and to challenge and to debate that freely and politely. If I started to wonder where the action was and if they were just going to talk themselves in circles every month. Sorry.
Brattleboro's got forums all the time, and people talk about what an activist place Brattleboro is. But I heard somebody say once, Brattleboro is where activists go to retire. Oh, I got to say hi to my friend.
No, you're good.
Sure.
Marshall!
I'll be over in a minute.
That's a strong whistle.
That was impressive.
Sorry.
No, don't be.
And so we got to ask ourselves what we mean when we say Brattleboro's an activist town. Does it mean we're people who enjoy going to nice little forums and talking? Or does it mean taking action?
So do you ever find yourself frustrated at events like this?
Yes.
With all the talk?
Yes, I do. Because I want people to stop educating themselves. We need I've said many times, motivation, not education.
It was kind of enlightening to hear. It's a much older crowd.
They're all old.
But that's like the country. Like, that's who votes. And like the fact that young people weren't in that room.
Well, it is Monday at noon.
Monday.
Like,
Everyone's retired, yeah.
That's fair. It's just a little crazy to not see anyone representing for millennials and Gen Z, because we see how active they are in social media.
It's a book mural that's in process. Look, they've got the spines, they've got Picasso, they've got Van Gogh, they've got all these different books. I wish it was finished. Oh, it's so beautiful. I'm scared, and I'm alone. I feel like my soul is being ripped apart by that creature.
Let's get the hell out of here.
I hate it. It's not safe.
This is why y'all die in movies.
Okay, guys, I got a news alert on my phone saying Amy Klobuchar is ending her campaign for president.
No! Are you serious?
And she's endorsing Joe Biden.
Out of all the people, she's endorsing him.
Less than 24 hours
Yesterday,
after Pete.
she just literally congratulated Pete, and I felt like she felt happy. This is crazy.
Now, okay, so now it's a VP play, I bet.
Yeah.
They're going, it's going to be Pete and Amy are now at each other's throats.
For Biden.
Trying to get Biden's VP.
But who is Biden going to pick is the question.
Stacey Abrams.
Oh, I love
Would she come
Stacey.
in sideways to this now?
What if Biden doesn't pick either of them? Like, these two guys are both pandering.
And then he's like, sorry.
He's like, sorry, Amy, sweet, sweet. Sorry, Pete, sweet, sweet. I'm going with Stacey.
I mean, I'd freak out. I don't think Stacey would do it, though, to be completely honest.
I don't think her policies really align
No.
with Joe's, but that could be a good thing.
I mean, I'm sure that's why he would want.
That's why he would want her.
How do you feel about Joe going from the bottom of these early states to now like being like the moderate standard bearer?
He's like the dark horse of this election. I don't think anyone was really looking at him. Everyone's like, oh, it's just, Uncle Joe. He's just there,
Yeah.
It's like your uncle at a barbecue. You're not really paying attention. Just make sure he's fed and go on with your day.
Yeah.
Which sounds rude, but like, that's just it. But now it's like, oh, like Uncle Joe is not only just eating, he's making the steaks, he's grilling hamburgers, he's making his special barbecue sauce for the hamburgers and the hot dogs.
Uncle Joe's here to stay.
He's here to stay, and he's here to provide.
South Carolina debate stage a week ago with 6 or 7 candidates on stage. In the past 48 hours, it's narrowed in half. Like Buttigieg, Amy, and Steyer have all dropped out in 48 hours. So it's narrowing down, which needed to happen.
Curtains closed, show's over, fade to black, play a sad song, bring in the violins.
All right, so what are we gonna do now, you guys?
Cry.
What do you think about the issue, sweet? What do you think?
4 more years. No, I'm joking. What was I gonna say? Sorry. Just had to get that out there. No, it disheartens me that the Democrats don't seem to be that much more cohesive than they were 4 years ago.
The storyline that's kind of percolated for the last couple of weeks about the Bernie bros, quote unquote, like that population being a more or less poisonous sort of entity in the whole conversation that's going on.
I don't know if it's so much Bernie bros as it is Bernie Sanders' own messaging. And, I think that the Bernie bros are quite like, in my experience, I come from like pretty affluent upper middle class Miami. My dad was in banking, my mom's a school teacher. So like I kind of definitely historically was raised more like blue dog Democrat or like, fiscally conservative but socially liberal. But I do see even in those camps a lot of like fear mongering against Bernie just because of whatever old tapes they pull up from the 80s of him shouting the praises of the movements in Nicaragua or Cuba and kind of like misappropriating that message. I think that's like Donald Trump's like fake news. I think that is a part of the fake news entity that like Bernie is going to have to hopefully deal with quickly. Yeah, no, I really am like resonating with a lot of the points that everybody's talking about. I just don't know at this point if they're really going to defeat Donald Trump. I don't know. I don't find much hope in the debates, except for Anderson Cooper. What a silver fox. What's up, Andy? All facetiousness aside, I really don't think an establishment figure like Joe Biden is going to fare too much better than Hillary Clinton did. You know, and I'm a minority, right? I'm Cuban American, and a lot of Hispanics that do vote blue seem to kind of like trend towards the Joe Biden types and the Bloomberg types that are more like polished white American businessmen.
Really?
And they kind of, you know, revile people like Bernie for, you know, being like a pseudo-communist and whatnot. So I just feel like there's like a lot of misperception right now as to what messaging is coming out of Democrat candidates, and I think that's going to really screw them over in the end, which is unfortunate.
Do you guys have any candidates that you're rooting for, or not really?
Pretty much Bernie Sanders.
Bernie?
Yeah.
What about you?
I'm also voting for Bernie.
Would you guys consider yourselves Bernie bros? Or not really?
No, I definitely cannot
disgusted by
say
the
that.
title, honestly.
Not with the label? Is there a reason why you don't want that label?
The word, the idea of being a bro of anything, I think it's like pretty like a foul idea in and of itself. I think it's I don't like that.
Really good lighting.
It is. Look. I'll show you my skin now. Look. My skin looks good.
Oh my god, it is amazing light.
Who has endorsed Joe today?
Beto, Amy,
And Pete today.
and Pete. Yeah.
Wow.
That's
Three people.
fucking
That's a lot of
crazy.
people.
The day before Super Tuesday.
What are Cory Booker and Kamala Harris gonna do?
I bet Joe.
No way.
They're not
I don't think
socialist.
Kamala would go for
No,
Joe.
Kamala's
Oh yeah, that's
absolutely
right.
not.
I think she would go for Bernie, if anything. But didn't they see what happened in 2016?
Where they split. Yeah, exactly.
Did they not
with Bernie and Hillary? Exactly.
learn from this?
Apparently not. We've got the What Happened book right on the coffee table. I haven't even finished it, but neither has the DNC.
Clearly.
Guys, I'm waiting for the inevitable news notification that Elizabeth drops out.
No, you think it's
She won't do it before tomorrow.
No,
you think it's inevitable?
Resilient.
You think it's inevitable?
Oh, she's out of here.
Unless something happens tomorrow, but like she hasn't been in the news for weeks. Like.
That's really sad. She had so much momentum at first.
I know, and she was doing so well.